Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew, and today I will be presenting my historically accurate heritage project. So first of all, my mother's side of the family comes from Oslo, Norway, which is the capital. And then here we just have some pictures of the landscape in small towns in Norway. Next up, my family lived there in the early 1900s, but as soon as 1940 rolled around, that's when World War II directly started affecting Norway. So instead of the calm mountains and ridges, we have tanks, gunfires, and explosions every day. Operation Weserübung was the first event that affected many families, forcing them to flee the country, including my very own. The attack was a Nazi raid on Denmark and Norway. It started April 9th and lasted until June 10th, 1940. And the two images on the right are from the actual raid itself. So here are some more World War II photos. We have Hitler, the guy that led the Nazis, and then there's the Enola Gay, the plane that pretty much ended World War II as we know it. So life in the 40s, especially in Norway, was a lot different than we know it now. Men every day would go out to work, like the typical man jobs, I guess, like working in a workshop, factory, or the military, of course. Women would stay home cleaning, taking care of children, or cooking dinner for their husband. So traditions. First up, we have New Year's Day. That's pretty much celebrated the same as we celebrate it now. The image on the far left is from Times Square. Couldn't find one of Norway. I guess they didn't photograph that. Next up, we have Christmas Day. Now, this is a bit different because it would strictly be for the religion of Christianity. Nothing else. Not as we know, like we set up a Christmas tree, open presents, and all that. But the next day, in fact, was called Boxing Day. And it's not where they beat each other up, but rather give each other gifts. They would give to the homeless sometimes, but mainly each other and their children. Next up is Constitution Day. That is May 17th. Apparently, they just ate ice cream and hot dogs all day and listened to political speeches. The religions that were practiced back then were Christianity, Catholicism, and Mormonism. Christianity was obviously the biggest one, and it still is to this day. Not much has changed. I assume they still practice the same thing that they were practicing back then. That goes for each religion. And there are just some Norwegian churches. So one not religion, tradition my family carried down was Christmas, and I'm assuming that's what most families carry down as well. That happens to be the only thing that we took from the past. We don't really go to church, only been once. And then as of my relatives, I don't really get any inspiration from them. Mainly my dad inspires me for a career. And then lastly, I wanted to include this map of how the troops, ships, and tanks moved in during the Nazi raid. So there on the left, we can see troops coming in by ship, obviously, because that's over the ocean. And then on the right, there's also troop lines, but I just couldn't decipher what was a border and what happened to be a troops. So thank you for watching. This was my presentation on my family history.